Hello everybody, Christian from Treasure Town here, and today it is the week of the Long Beach Expo, so we got one big package of Long Beach items. That is a California coin show, and then we also got a package in from, I believe, England, and then one from Belgium, and so I'm here to unbox all of them. I think I'm going to start with these ones. I have seen some of the items in it, but not all of it, and then these two I bought myself. So this one was put together and was dropped off to my friend Alex, who then brought the coins to me. So I'm excited. Let's see what's inside. And that is one neatly organized box. So it looks like this first package is going to be all graded coins. I think the other coins are all going to be raw. So as I take a handful here, and let me just adjust the light, we're going to have Kampen Shipwreck, which is a Dutch shipwreck. I forget exactly though if this was like in the East Indies or if it was in the English Channel or somewhere closer by. But these are going to be, Kampen Lyondalders, but that shipwreck provenance definitely adds a bunch to them. And so certainly exciting that we're going to have that clear right-facing soldier, and then on this side the lion, being shipwrecked for 350 years. I think it was recovered sometime in the 1970s, I want to say. Definitely does a toll on the coins, but it's also really cool to have that shipwreck effect, and then still have some decent, like here, that one looks like, is that 16, like 1 something? So we have some level of a date. That's interesting. We also have some 8 reals Vliegenhart. That one's really nicely, the cob there is in a very nice square shape, so definitely exciting and interesting. This one is a larger, more traditional cob shape, I would say, with a unique holder. Beautiful. There we have a Vliegenhart, very nice on both sides. Here it looks like some 4 reals. So maybe that first one was also a 4 real. No, that first one was an 8. And I think the Vliegenhart was another Dutch shipwreck, so very, very interesting. And these actually have pretty good eye appeal, 1730 to 33, so tightly between Philip V. And then here we have some Consolacion Bolivian 4 reals. I want to say the Consolacion, and there's Carlos II. Interesting how they were able to get that off of such a worn and shipwrecked planchet, but I want to say it was shipwrecked off the coast of Ecuador or something like that. There's another one. Oh, 4s. It looks like we got 5 Consolacion 4 reals. Fantastic. And then even some 1 reals. So people who just want to own a little bit of shipwreck history, I think that's going to be the more... Oh, that one actually looks pretty nice. The more affordable type for them to pick up. So that's exciting. This one looks like, let's see, 1859 RMS Douro. I have not heard of the Douro shipwreck. Very interesting, but probably some kind of, I think Oro is like gold, so maybe it's a, some kind of, that doesn't look gold to me. This looks like, the 1852,000 race, but the ship probably was named after being gold. It looks like we might have some ICG coins. So these are going to be Mint State 67s, 1925. I have to see what the market comps on these are on eBay. That's kind of funny. 1925 and some 25Ds. So I feel like I've seen ICG a little bit more. The Mint State 67 from ICG is not going to be the same as a PCGS Mint State 67. But, if people want, I forget that it is like actually the last year of issue. Looks like we have right here some Port of Veracruz, some 500th anniversary in... See, a Mint State 67 is actually pretty tough to get from friends at NGC. There's First Village of Colima, Mexico, Tenochtitlan, Military Academy. Those are nice looking. Interesting. I'm looking at the price sheet. I think I'm paying 40 each for those, so that's a little higher than I would have thought, but they must be valuable. Here we have some 1965... 10 francs. The silver value alone in these is going to be pretty significant, and they look, they're in really nice shape, so super interesting. The Hercules type, I think they first put the Hercules type on during the French Revolution in the 1790s, and then it comes back when they have the revolution in 1848, so that's kind of very interesting. Next up, we've got Leper Colony, Maracaibo in Venezuela, 1916. That is very interesting. I wonder if this, yeah, would actually have been used in a colony where there was leprosy, 5 centimos, so that people would have money to spend there. That is fascinating. Wow, that's really interesting. Last but not least, we have speculative attribution. Okay, interesting. Some phantoms of the Marathas of Tanjore. And so, yeah, no, that all makes a lot of sense. Very, very interesting. If they don't know exactly what they're going to call it, the speculative attribution, I think that's a good way to, these would have been Indian. I think this is prior to, I believe, the British conquest, so it would have just been their small circulating gold. But people forget how, if you wanted gold to circulate, often putting it in really large coin forms would be tough for actual circulation. So phantoms probably would have circulated a little bit more, but these seem to have held up in pretty good shape. Anyways, great first package, and I will be excited to then, let's see, I'm going to put these back in the box, and then we'll keep on opening. Here's the next mix. I think it's going to be, and I'll get like a knife or something to open it up, but should be mostly British and then a couple of European jettons. And here we've got the next package, so I think that I will just start. There's 4 groups. The first was these 2 écus. These are French Louis XV. Comes after the Sun King, who reigned for 72 years. He reigns for something like 59. These are early in his reign, so 1727E and 1734M. He has a young, youthful portrait, as you can see, on both of these guys, and just fun to get some big French silver. After that, we're going to fast forward or fast backward 500 plus years to Henry III. And so these are really nice looking. I paid not quite $100, but pretty close to that for these items. I want to say it was something in the 70s or 80s. These are long cross pennies, and they look good. I mean, they are some sharp types. Let me make sure that they're oriented properly. These have been, they probably used in commerce, but not excessively. That just looks like a weak strike. Fantastic strike on the other side of the coin. And you can see his face so clearly. And then again, you have great long crosses on the reverse of these. And then after that, we're going to have the Edward VI, 1547 to 1553 shillings. So a little bit more worn. Very nice reverse on that one. But it's not, Edward is not the 6th, at least. Don't get coins of his all too often. And so I was excited to be able to offer. There's a little bit of graffito on these items, and so I think that that's something people will have to get comfortable with, but will probably knock enough off the value where they'll be affordable. That one just seems to have wear as opposed to any of that graffito. Beautiful coins, not ones that I've handled before. And then we got a mix of about 40 jettons, so let me just pull those together here. We're going to have, that one looks like some of the houses of Bourbon 1660. So a lot of these are going to be French. This one looks like a Nurnberg of Louis XV. And so Nuremberg was the primary place these were struck. Carolus VII. Some of these are going to be pretty interesting and not as common. 1611, very interesting. Lots of flying dove scene. I think that's going to be like a Louis the 13th, yeah, the prior Louis to the Sun King. Then you have another, that one's the 14th at Nuremberg. Here's another Nuremberg type, the 15th, and you can see what engraver often down below. Expace Uberitas. I'll kind of point out any of, like, those are going to be a little bit tougher to find. This one is going to date to about 1681. A little bit older. Not that these aren't valuable, but they're going to be, maybe retail somewhere in the, teens or $20 versus some of the other ones with the dates, the older ones, that are a little tougher. That one's a cool, I actually have a shirt with this one. I sold it to a guy on Whatnot named Numalab, and he has a cool website where he makes fun designs there, riding a dolphin. A lot of these are really interesting, exciting, have a cool look to them. But I don't want to bore you either. Just want to hunt for cool designs. That one's certainly 1758, Bâtiment du Roi. 1716, Extraordinaire de Guerre. That looks like a really early Extraordinaire de Guerre type. I haven't seen that one. That's very exciting. Let's see. Here we've got, that's fun. Nuremberg type. More Nuremberg. That one could be Nuremberg, but it has a very nice strike. And that's beautiful. 1638. Omnia Terri Quibus with a bunch of fruit. Fantastic. Oh, with maybe Julius Caesar even on the front. That's going to be probably the most exciting jet, and I'd be surprised if we could top that. 1723 from Rime. There we have nice Louis type, and we'll get the last of these in hand. Fantastic Hercules style. We have an alphabet jeton with often, yeah, they would have like the Rechenpfennig makers on the front of it. That classic 1743, or maybe that, yeah, 1743 XL is going to be 40. Here is going to be 1639, 1671, nice look to it. Ludovicus. Magnus Rex 1698, very nice looking. 1715, 1705, 1746, 1723. Very nice. 1746. Oh, that's cool. 1667. And then all these ended up being actually, there's no cull jettons in this mix, so very pleased to see that. 1659. Fantastic result. Another good batch here, and we will take a look at the final ones, which lie in these after I opened the package. And here's that last package, and to be fully honest, I think the best way for me to do this is actually going to be to not unbox each of these on camera. And instead, before I do it, here's this Louis Philippe I. Does not have a specific date on there, though it's very beautiful, and has the all-seeing eye above. I've already printed out, because I was able to know what these coins were ahead of time. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what any of them are at this point, because it's been a long time since these were shipped and purchased, but I'll put them all in the flips and then we'll go through them. I'll do this with one more. It says that should be a nickel jeton. It is going to be the Academy of Arts Sciences. There we see it. And Literature and Agriculture. And it is of Macon. And there we go. Very convenient to have these all together in advance. So give me a moment. And we've got everything in front of us. It is time to go through it. I think you guys will think it's a pretty good mix. So, realizing that's easier to not hold all of them in my hands, I think the first mix is going to be some cool jettons. So, as I mentioned, we have, and it'll be funny to go reverse first, but we have this base metal jeton. We did get a good number of silver ones, so varying degrees of condition. These are the, there's a Louis XVI. He was kind of the last major French king. There were obviously some post-Napoleon ones. But he, died in 1792. You have the earlier Louis XV. Here's the à l'immortalité, common early 15th. Beautiful copper jeton dated to 1753. It's fantastic. In Certamen Utrumque, just beautiful horse. And then, let's see, there we have a great Louis XV as well. There is Louis XVI back again. And then this one, and I'm realizing maybe most of their orientation, 1723, or maybe 1721. No, that's 1721. I like the very plain tree design in this example. This one we have the payers of rents. I'm not sure the specific cultural significance, but I should learn it. Here we have another smaller French jeton, and then another all-seeing eye, 1698, controllers of rent. You have a bunch of coins on it, which is interesting. And so here we've got a nice 1659 with a Belgian-looking lion, and then a couple other mixed jettons. Nothing too crazy, nice Pegasus dated to 1585 there. This was what I wanted to call out, though. We have a couple of Moreau, which it has like a chalice, but I believe that it was used in some communion related, and this one was like maybe payment of bread. 1700 dated. Here's 1659 communion token. I thought that was really kind of interesting and not something I'd seen much of. We had a couple. This one looks like a Belgian jeton. I think there was one more of those, and then we'll get into a mix of medieval types. So really, really interesting. This one was the first Carolingian coin that I've handled. I paid up for it, but it's a nice King Odo West Francia type. And then you'll see that I kind of was a little bolder in some of the ones here. So we have a nice King Henry VI, but then, you know, trying out some nicer condition, like beautifully toned Trier Pfennig in silver. We had this next one is going to be one of the hand heller types of Frankfurt. But then here you have like a Geoffrey the Third, County of Guienne, a Castile and Leon Spanish Blanca. We have a Duchy of Carinthia under Duke Bernard II. We have a Bishopric of Gert Adalbert type of Bohemia. We've got a Frederick the Handsome Silver Pfennig from Austria. We have an Ottokar of Bohemia type with a really interesting star. I have some of these Parvis, but this one actually has the Emperor on it, or unless that's Jesus Christ as a stylized version, double cross on the back. We have a King Bella the Third Uniface denier, but again in fantastic, nice toned condition. These are not coins I see all the time, so I just had to buy them. We have a Champagne and Brie Count Theobald IV denier, a Bishopric of Metz Bertram denier with this nice cross and looks like chalice, Duchy of Lorraine denier with a charging horseman on the front of it, City of Cahors in a French States denier, looks kind of like the Litus from Pontius Pilate. We got two big Kronenthalers, one like so, very nice. And then a handful of interesting Belgian Escalin types. So across the board, we have then a couple. There's Epirus Philip denier, Duchy of Athens. Oh, I thought that was a Spanish coin, Catalan colonies, but Athens, I assume is Greek. Interesting. Here's a Frankish Greece as well. Interesting. Thought that was a French one. And we have a Swiss Rapin from 1498. Beautiful uniface type. 17, I think it's 51, not 50, but Maria Teresa Liard. And then lastly, another Escalin with the Belgian horse or lion advancing left. So very, very interesting. I think that caps off a fantastic mix. I'm excited to inventory all of it, and we'll see how it all does. But always pumped to bring out some great coins and fun unboxings. Had a good Long Beach, and I hope you guys have a great week of coin unboxings too. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to head on over to treasuretown.com and sign up for our email list to stay up to date on everything that's happening, whether it's auction updates, exciting new inventory drops, coin collecting news, or general informational resources. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on another one.